Hi, welcome to Nurture Squared and our interview today with Judy Arnall. Thank you, Judy, for being here.
Thanks for having me.
It's a pleasure. For those who are perhaps less familiar with Judy Arnall or want a little recap, Judy is an author of several books, including Parenting with Patience and Discipline Without Distress, as well as a keynote speaker. There they are.
That's my brain right there.
Wonderful. And her newest book, Unschooling to University, which I've just started reading. She is an unschooling parent of 5, a keynote speaker, and a nonprofit entrepreneur. That's my lingo for reinterpreting your bio, of at least 5 nonprofit organizations. And she's done this all while also being interviewed on several TV news programs that I've had an opportunity to see from time to time. So a busy person, and one that I am so excited to be able to tap into your expertise and personal experience around balancing pursuing your passion in terms of professional writing and speaking and your passion of mothering and unschooling. So thank you again for being here.
Thanks for having me.
It is a pleasure. So one of the biggest questions I have, knowing that you have unschooled 5 kids and done all this writing and speaking and been very involved with the Attachment Parenting Canada as well as former president, is what do you see as your biggest challenge that you've experienced in balancing all of these passions and still being able to pursue them in a way that aligns with your heart and with your values?
Okay. Well, it sounds a bit cliche, but biggest challenge, of course, is balancing the needs of one's family with the needs of one's business, right? So, and when my kids were little, my partner traveled a lot out of town. So he went to another country and he was back home like he was gone 24 days and then back 10. So I was single momming it for a couple of years there. But the challenge is, as a mom, like you kids don't compartmentalize. You have young children, they need your attention. They need you to help sort out the fight. They need you to put on shoes. They need you to comfort them. But you have a business too. An article has a deadline. You need to research for an interview or a book. And you have to make sure that happens too. So here's my guilt. I have managed to do it. So sometimes I have done interviews in the closet or on the patio and the kids don't know I'm home. Otherwise they'd want something. And I've played games with my kids and my mind's not there. My mind's on work, right? So it's not great, but it's not perfect. Either way, it's not perfect in business or family, but you muddle through it and you do the best you can do. I found the biggest challenge is just practicing mindfulness. So when my mind's on work, it is on work. And when my mind's on my kids, I try to be in the moment and enjoy them and spend time with them and pushing those thoughts of work away. So that's been challenging. I won't lie.
I think that is going to resonate with many of us, and it certainly resonates with me. So this is just a wonderful chance to tap into things, especially since your kids are now grown and out of post-secondary education for those that ended up doing high school and are certainly, you're kind of through the deep, dark forest of trying to manage these things, or perhaps not. Perhaps that's presumptuous of me.
Well, I don't know. I was just complaining today that adult children who live out of town, they still need you in different ways. So, I'm helping one with his work stuff, forms he needs to fill out, and I'm helping another. He's trying to figure out a permanent residency application. So they still need you. It's just, you can put them off if you need to. Their needs are, you can delay the gratification a bit. Not like little kids.
Right. Absolutely perfect. So one of the other things that I'm curious about, because certainly, you know, the challenges are big, as you say, it's a constant balance or imbalance of competing priorities that don't mesh all that well, except on those sweet days when everything kind of falls into place. What for you has been the biggest surprise for you in a positive way, aside from the challenges, in terms of the rewards or surprises or positive aspects of being able to pursue all of these passions of parenting and professional life?
Well, I guess in the early days, one big surprise was how little children sleep. So you think you're going to get things done in nap time, and doesn't every child take a 3-hour nap? No. So I had those that would take a 5-minute nap and I wouldn't get anything done. But on the other end, when we are going through the school age and teen years, of course the kids were at home because we unschooled, and they would be such a big help then. So if I needed them to take a toddler and take the toddler to the park when they were, 12, 14 years of age, they would do it. And then now in the later teens, they're a big help too, in that they help me edit my book, they design the covers, they know technology a lot faster than I can. So that's been a real surprise. Is sure, it's like putting in the money in the bank when they're little, and it pays off dividends when they're big, and yeah, it's good that way.
Fantastic. That brings another, on the flip side of things, one of the themes that has come up over and over again with my interviews with other mentors who are parents and entrepreneurs is the role that failure has played ultimately in your success. So I wonder if you could speak to that a little bit.
Okay, well, yes. I think it's helped me do better in my business to fail. I think sometimes getting criticized on social media really makes you look at, do they have valid points? One of my book projects tanked and forcing myself to look at the positives and successes helps me cope a bit with the bad, so you always pick yourself up and go 2 steps forward. You get 1 step back, but it ends up that there's more positives and more things to be optimists about than the failures. And I would suggest, surround yourself with people that care about you and can, smooth over and comfort you during those bad times, because you need those. There will always be critics and naysayers, but you need a support group that will build you up. And you have to just silence the criticisms in your head. Now, I would say one of the best things to do is ask people for evaluations, or ask them to give you feedback on things, because we all have friends who want to be nice and say, oh yeah, that's a great idea, that's a good idea for a book, and then you produce it and market it and it fails. You want people to be honest with you and save you a lot of money and say, that idea just doesn't work for me. So you need those people too, but you need those people to do it gently. But failure it just makes the successes a lot better too. It really does.
Terrific. What resonates with me and what you just said is the idea of asking people for evaluations or honest feedback. That actually came up in my interview with Matt Bodner through Nurture Squared as well. So that's neat to see that thread picked up again in our interview today.
Yeah, it's free. It's free market research, right? So that's good. And the honesty is good. It's not criticizing you as a person, is criticizing your idea that may not fit for what you want it to do. And like I said, it saves you so much money in the long run. So listen.
Yeah, if we only ever got positive feedback, we wouldn't be able to progress and grow from it.
That's right. That's right.
Well, and certainly from the perspective of having a support group or being surrounded by supportive people, that really resonates with me as well, since Nurture Squared was started with that idea of helping support each other through the challenges of having an entrepreneurial business and young kids. So certainly that resonates well with me as well.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if you could speak a little bit about, and I'm not even sure if you did this or not, but in terms of, you know, there's so many multiple roles that we play and so many tasks that we're trying to do, some of which are only possible to be done by us, others can be done by others. Have you ever, or to what degree did you outsource some of your tasks? And I say this knowing that for most people, they outsource schooling and education. That was one thing you didn't outsource.
Mm-hmm.
Are there other things you did that ended up being helpful to you?
I definitely built a support system, especially when my partner was away for those couple of years. So I joined a babysitting co-op so that, you know, if I had a deadline and someone was available, I could drop a kid off. I had babysitter lists. I had the A list, the B list, the C list, the D list, and the A list was those that could drive. And that was really good. And reliable vendors. And I outsourced cooking a lot. I can't tell the number of times we went through Burger King. And the kids won't touch it now. No fast food anymore for them, or me either. And because I didn't really outsource to school, what I did cultivate was that I wasn't here as an entertainer for my kids. So if they were at home all day, they had to entertain themselves and find some projects to do. And if they need my help getting something, that's fine. But there were times where I actually had to concentrate and work, and they knew that. I would put a little red scarf near my computer, and that was a sign that, you know, don't bother me unless there's blood or fire. Work it out yourself. So I would outsource some of the care of the little ones to the older kids too. Sometimes I'd have to pay them, but they were really helpful too that way. So yeah, just saying, you know, you have to entertain yourselves. I'm not your main entertainer. And they always knew I was a working mom too. And I think that's a good thing. It makes them self-sufficient, and you know, they had to clean up their messes. Of course, I'd have to show them, but I think that's probably, oh, and carpools. Carpools are essential because, boy, that takes a lot of time. You know, a 1 hour activity across the city turns into 4 hours out of your day. And when you're signing kids up for activities, you really have to figure out, is that worth it? Is that what we want to do, right? So I would outsource things I didn't like to do, and I would give me more time for things I'd want to do. I like family dinners. I really like to, like, we would pick up fast food, but maybe we go to a picnic spot and eat it together, kind of thing, right? So you have the quality time, but you just pay someone else to cook. So yeah.
Well, and you know, you were mentioning, I mean, I love the idea of the red scarf near your computer, because certainly, you know, my kids are home full time. I've got 3 boys and we're homeschooling, and it is, you know, they're at that age where I can't just slip in little bits of work anymore. I need chunks of time. So having that visual signal for them is something I think I'll try. I'll have to figure out if the scarf is going to be bright enough to acknowledge that shift. And I certainly, I had to chuckle when you mentioned that, don't interrupt me unless it's blood or fire. I have used that phrase many times already. I find it reassuring to know that, that I'm not the only one. I'm also finding it really reassuring that, you know, I know there's such a big emphasis on playful parenting and on the importance, you know, obviously as someone who is an attachment-based parent, that attachment is key, but that for older kids, it doesn't necessarily have to be playfulness and play. It can be a different role for parenting.
Oh yes, there's a lot of ways to spend time with kids. Like, people seem to think, well, we got to do the quality things, and we got to go to Disneyland, and we have to go to this new movie, but they're times to be together in life, just doing laundry together or, you know, making dinner together. You still have those amazing conversations with kids and build quality time into that. And kids don't care what you do, they just want to do it with you.
Right. And it goes back to that idea of the mindfulness piece, that if you are present with them and mindful and attentive during that time, it's worth tenfold. You know, it's worth 10 hours of half paying attention and checking your email at the same time.
That's right. That's right.
Now, you know, the red scarf idea, that, I mean, I'm really going to carry that one with me, but I wonder if you have any other practical tricks or hacks for the challenge of getting work done with kids around. And, you know, I say this knowing that half of my interviews, I have one kid coming in or out of view and showing stuffed animals online to whoever I'm interviewing. And, you know, so I appreciate flexibility as part of it, but I'd love to hear any other hacks that you might have for finding that.
Well, for one thing, if a scarf doesn't work, wear a toque. Now, see, I have my door closed, so my kids are older and they know don't bother mom, right? But I think when you have little kids, like I said, I used to disappear into a closet to do a phone interview for a radio, or I should go outside, sneak outside. But I used to also carry bins of toys. Like, you know how kids get so many birthday toys that is overwhelming? I would pack about half of them away. And then if I really needed a chunk of time to get something done, I would bring out the bin and new toys, not the messy ones. Don't give them messy things, but something that is new to them and takes their attention for, you know, an hour or so. So I would do that, or, you know, use a babysitting co-op, and play dates too. It's surprising when you invite someone that they like over to play, it gives you some time too. Try and use nap times. I would sometimes write really late in the evening or really early in the morning, just so I have interrupted quiet time. I think a lot of parents do that too. And, you know, make use of your partner, send them out to do whatever, ride the bus system all day. You know, just give you some time is helpful. And, oh, what else I used to do was I used to load the kids in the car and go to those fast food outfits with play places, or IKEA, or somewhere that has a play place. Now in our city we have libraries, and it's so much fun. They play and I just do with some book work or some concentrated time. So that really worked too.
Actually, that we have done that, but I haven't been, I'd forgotten about the occasional time that has worked really well. So I think I'll have to use that next week, Judy. I wonder if you could, because certainly you've played a number of professional roles, and they're diverse, and yet still carry a common thread of, you know, attachment-based or involved parenting. So you've kind of, you know, you've lived it. You've lived through this whole idea of being present for your kids, but also talking to others about being present for their kids. What do you see at this point in your career as being the thing that stands out for you as being particularly rewarding or special to you professionally?
I think what stands out, I think I really like that I have books now, and the thought of passing that on to my children and my grandkids is really, really nice to me, because it's, I mean, all the relatives know I have books out, but for my kids to sit and read them and talk about it with their future partners is really, really cool. Whether they follow the advice or not, I don't care. It's up to them. But that's really rewarding to think that when I'm gone, my word's going to live on, kind of thing, through who I raise. And I have to say, you know, it was really hard in the younger years to follow attachment parenting and to be really loving and comforting when, you know, you maybe I was trying to do an interview and I was just feeling frustrated because my child wouldn't settle down and would start screaming, right? I remember doing one interview on spanking and discipline, and I was thinking, boy, I would just, oh, I just love to spank you right now because you're not cooperating, and these people are, you know, but I knew I couldn't, right? So, but in the end, it all works out. The kids grow up, the interview gets done, the work gets done. It all gets done in the time. And, you know, if you can just take a deep breath and breathe and have some patience, you don't end up saying things you regret.
I love that perspective, and I love that honesty, because I think any of us watching this is going to be able to relate to that, even though most of us are still really deep in that period of time with younger kids. So I appreciate that a lot.
And it's having reasonable expectations, because you know what, and accepting that you're not going to get a whole lot done when you have young kids underfoot, right? But when they get school age and they get older, it's a lot easier to sit them and explain, I do need some time here. And they understand. Yeah, so.
Well, I wanted to pick up on that then too, because certainly, you know, for many of us in Nurture Squared, our kids are still relatively young and we're just trying to get something done professionally because it's something that we value. Perhaps in one respect, we get a bit impatient with ourselves in terms of our professional progress. In terms of your career up to this point, was there a fairly significant shift as the kids got older, or was it a steady development of business?
As far as the kids, because I had 5 kids in 11 years. So once the older kids got older, like my most spirited child was my youngest one, and who took 95% of my time. So
just when you thought you were going to be able to just coast through, you're an old hat, got this all figured out.
yeah. And he's lovely. He's so much fun and he's wonderful. But depending on kids' temperaments, some you may have an easygoing child, baby, toddler, and you can get so much done. And then you have that second child and they're spirited, or maybe your first child's spirited and your second child is really easygoing and you get lots done. So it's coming to a point of acceptance that your kids are who they are. Things will get better. Don't project that, you know, it's always going to be this way, and do whatever you can, but don't be hard on yourself if you can't get it done. You know, there's always a time and place it will get done.
Right. Fantastic. I'm going to shift the questions a little bit more towards the actual business side of things, because, you know, certainly from my perspective, and I think most that have joined Nurture Squared are in the same boat as me, we weren't trained in business. We weren't trained in marketing. We were trained in or schooled in a certain skill, whether it was therapy or midwifery or what have you. And so the marketing piece is really foreign to us. I wonder if you have any perspectives on your journey in getting your name out there and getting people aware of what it was that you could do for helping them.
Okay. Well, a lot of it was trial and error, and a lot of it was I joined some business networking groups that would help with the business side. So I speak and I write, and so much of what we do, people, I think we really need to value what we do and value that we have a marketable product or skill. So when somebody hires you, for example, someone wants to hire me for a keynote and they look at my price and say, whoa, that's pretty a lot for a 1 hour. And I would say, well, it's not 1 hour though. You're actually paying for 20 years of experience and knowledge that's in my brain, and you're renting it for 1 hour. And valuing that with, I think we can't be afraid of putting a price on what we know and what we do and what we produce. and saying no to people who want you to do things for exposure or for free. And there's always someone who's going to come in and do things for free or give things away. But if we value ourselves first, then other people will, right? We have to do that. And I've also found it helpful to keep good records and be a little organized, especially keep on top of invoicing and outsource what you don't want to do or what takes too much of your time. So there's a lot of virtual assistants you can hire. And then when kids get old enough, you can pay them, but you still have to supervise. But yeah, like do the things you want to do and you do well, and realize that you can't do everything. So outsource what you don't want to do. And yeah, I would say that was my biggest learnings.
Yeah, well, that's great. As I know, certainly from my perspective, that's been a really big struggle, especially, in a field where parenting and child development is valued as an occupational therapist working with families. And to figure out, well, the more I do with clients, the less I'm doing with families, so that understanding that there is value in that, and that if that's something that I want to do and have a passion for, that is okay. In fact, that's more than okay. It's good. And it sounds like, yeah, your kids are now through those early years and going out into the world on their own. And there is a big shift that I guess will be happening for most of us that you're able to look back and see.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, the shift happens, like now I have lots of undivided time. I have a clean house.
What? What's that?
It's great. Your house is neat and clean, and your floors aren't sticky anymore. And I miss the kids, obviously, but and then I have lots of time now. I can actually do speaking engagements. I can cook a meal with a glass of wine and actually enjoy the process rather than rushing to get food on the table. So,
well, what I hear you saying too, which is really refreshing, is that, by getting everything out of what you're doing at the time that you're doing it, there's not really a huge sense of regret that the kids have moved out and moved on, because there's pleasures that come with that too. And that it's okay to celebrate those pleasures of a clean house and time to have a glass of wine and a full homemade meal.
It is. There are pleasures in every stage. Absolutely, there are. And with your kids, and kids too, it's nice to see them at every different stage. Yeah.
Well, and on that note of appreciating time, I do appreciate your time, and that you do have quite a lot on your plate as well. So I'll close the interview now, but I want to say again, a very heartfelt thank you for spending the last half hour with us. It's been a real pleasure.
Thank you. And just remember, there's no perfect parents, there's no perfect kids, and parents are doing an awesome job these days. Absolutely awesome. But thank you for having me, and it was great to meet you. Finally, we just talk. And
you chatted a lot on social media and other avenues, so I appreciate your time, Judy. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye.